Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 16th of May. I'm Derek Clark, as ever, and I'm joined for the first time this week by Stevie Clifford. How goes it, Stevie?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm just trying to sort the lighting in here to make it look a wee bit better. It looks awful yellow. So, I don't know what's happening.
We'll need to get the lighting crew over to sort it out.
Doesn't look good on the old cue ball, Derek. So I'm just trying to get it sorted out for everybody. Good morning, mate. I'm good. I hope everybody is well. Also, it's another smashing day. So there we go. That's a wee bit better. That's it.
There we go.
So I hope everybody is well.
Yep, hunky-dory, yet the sun is shining, which is always a good thing. And final game of the season over the weekend. We'll get stuck into that shortly. And before we do, a quick word for our podcast sponsors. As ever, S1 Jobs. If you're looking to hand in your transfer request, folks, head over to S1 Jobs and upload your CV today. There are thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh, and the surrounding areas. You'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Right, Stevie, it's been another eventful week when it comes to all things Rangers. We'll talk about the managerial update shortly. You were at Ibrox the other night there for the final home game of the season. Another comeback victory under Barry. What do you make of it? There's a few farewells at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, what do I make of it? It was an end of the season game, fairly routine. I am glad that it's over and done with. I think that's absolutely fair in terms of our Ibrox season. I think we're all well aware that it's miles short of what we want. But in terms of last couple of performances, I've had some good moments in it. I don't think quite as good as what maybe it's been built up as. But, last half an hour against Aberdeen, exceptional. And then they hit their stride at moments the other night as well, which was good. And I'm glad they done it. I'm glad they done it for Barry. Listen, really selfishly, I'm glad they done it for Barry because I know that it hasn't been perfect under Barry Ferguson, but in my opinion, he came in at a time where we were down on our knees almost, out of the cup, beating at home to St Mirren. Squad was in a pretty poor place. He turned it around in terms of getting an automatic uplift for them, winning at Kilmarnock. Then obviously Motherwell slip up, but he managed to go to Fenerbahce, and that double against Fenerbahce to go through. And I know we got beat at home, but to get through that tie, to win it at Celtic Park, and that there's been a few good results for Barry. It was nice to see him get that round of applause the other evening, and we sing song for it. I think he deserved it. And I'm very grateful that him and the management team have came in and stepped in, Derek. So, and that's just an appreciation for what they've done. It's not me saying go and give them the job or anything, not at all. It's just sometimes, I think Barry put himself on the line coming in. I think that's fair to say. So I was pleased that he had those moments, and I was pleased to get a couple of victories for him. Doesn't mean much for the squad. We didn't find out much. Nice to see Bailey Rice get some game time. Aside of that, there's not much that we could learn that we don't already know. So, it's about getting through Saturday, hopefully as unscathed as possible, and then getting the season over and done with, because we're all more than ready for a series of changes at this football club.
Yeah, most definitely. And change is coming, that's for sure. A lot of talk this week with regards to the managerial situation, Stevie. And we were on with Chris yesterday in the afternoon with regards to Davide Ancelotti, who had emerged as the leading candidate to take over as Rangers head coach for next season. Chris came on yesterday and said that Rangers hadn't put a contract to him, but there had been positive discussions between both parties, and he was said to be weighing up a move to Ibrox. Now, a lot of you commenting in the show this morning. News is just starting to emerge on social media from some reports in Spain. We'll have to firm these up. But Madrid Extra, who initially came out with the news over the last earlier on in the week, claim that he's decided to postpone his career as a head coach. It says here he'll stay with Carlo until the 2026 World Cup. I need to check that out, folks, and see how accurate that is. But the name Davide Ancelotti, Stevie, came from left field over the weekend initially. What was your initial feelings on that and the potential of him taking over? And this news just breaking. Let us say, folks, we'll get it firmed up. But would you be on board with someone like an Ancelotti taking over?
Well, what I said was, and what I remain is, it wasn't really about Ancelotti for me. It was about the kind of excitement and enthusiasm surrounding what we are trying to do. You know, you've got one of the most renowned coaches in the world in his dad, Carlo Ancelotti, and then you've got his boy. And what we're trying to do is go and take, you know, his son, who's an emerging coach, and try and give him the opportunity here. So I was all for it in terms of that kind of enthusiasm, that ambition, Derek. And it's the ambition side of it that I really like. I think we've missed that in a long time here at Rangers. That drive, that kind of enthusiasm. I understood everybody's kind of, hold on a minute here, this guy's never been a coach before, this guy's never been a manager. I was just happy to let it play out and see what happens with it, following kind of Chris's updates and things like that. So him, Danny Roll, I think, Rob Edwards, the ones that they were talking about, that the kind of the ones that seem to be at the forefront, because how much do we really know? Seem to be at the forefront of things, kind of tell me that we're going in a certain direction, which is not a manager anymore, like more head coach, and that youthful kind of enthusiasm and things, which I like. So from that point of view, I think I was enthusiastic in terms of, you know, this is going to be a new era, this is going to be a new thing, and we'll just need to wait and see how it unfolds. I think there's going to be a lot of reports, similarly with players, over the course of the summer, and I try not to get up nor down, you know, because 1 minute you think it's going to be Gerrard, 1 minute you think it's going to be Ancelotti. A couple of days ago, everybody thought that Roll might have been the one that was there. So there's plenty of speculation at the moment. I don't think anyone really knows. I certainly don't, and I'll follow the updates like everybody else, looking closely at it. Ancelotti, if it happens, will be an exciting prospect because of the pedigree he comes with. But there is that additional risk that he's never been manager before. He's never taken a managerial job, and this might be too much for him. We have seen this before. So all we can do, Derek, is wait. I think I'm quite grounded when it comes to who it's going to be and what's going to happen. And we'll just need to see. I tend to follow Chris and see what he's reporting, and then we'll just go from there.
He'll be busy scurrying away, folks, as well, Chris, on this one. I did joke when we came off air yesterday that I wonder if we'll get through the weekend without any emergency updates, but I very much doubt that. That news emerging, which would be interesting. We'll try, as I mentioned, get it firmed up. You mentioned there but Rangers moving to that sort of head coach and not an overarching manager, Stevie. It's just moving in line with modern football, I guess. And I know that some were a bit concerns about the possibility of Davide Ancelotti joining after helping his father to World Cup qualifiers for Brazil at the start of June, and whether he'd be here for transfers. He won't have a direct real involvement in that. That's already... Rangers are already busy sort of identifying targets and trying to get bodies in the door for when the window opens, I'd imagine. That's not necessarily an important factor. But for you, having a coach in the door, do you think it's important that someone is in pretty sharpish? Is that a key factor for you, given this summer of upheaval on the way?
Yes, I think obviously the sooner they're in, the better, in my opinion. But the players come back on the 23rd of June next month. So that gives you a timeline of how tight it is. Derek, you're talking about friendlies at Ibrox at the start of July. That's how quickly this turnaround is going to be. In terms of time off, we're not going to get that much. And we'll be back to it. We have to be ready for Champions League qualifiers. How much does a head coach really need to be there in terms of, you know, what's his position going to be when it comes to signings and things. Does he need to be sitting in the training ground every single day? I'm not sure he does.
No.
So we have a wee bit of time to get that in position. The players will go on holidays and end their break next week, so it gives us roughly a month before they reconvene again. I would like to think that by the time that they reconvene, we will know. Excuse me. We will know what's happening with a manager. We will know what's happening with the takeover. We will know what's happening with the who's coming in and what's kind of happening. So I'm quite relaxed as such. I don't think it's overly important somebody's in immediately because everybody's away anyway.
Yeah.
And they would be on their holidays in the first place anyway, Derek. So I think it's vitally important that by the 23rd next month, everything's in line. I think just in the first week or so in July, they go down to St George's as well down south to do their pre-season and things like that. So I want things well in place by all these points. By the time they go and do these training camps and things, Derek, I would like, to a real direction to be emerging in what we are doing.
Yeah.
So happy to be patient enough with that. I'm relaxed. As I said, look, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket with regards to who's coming in managerial wise. There's been times where, honestly, I've said it before, I really thought Gerrard was going to come back. And then I thought Danny Rowe was going to get it because the news on him was very strong, wasn't it?
Yep.
For a couple of days that died down. And then we all thought, or we're all thinking at the moment, David and Ancelotti is the choice. So I don't think there's any point in really getting up nor down. Let's see where it takes us. Let Chris do the heavy lifting. And we just sit back and see where it takes us. And honestly, I'm quite relaxed about it. I understand people's reservations about not having managerial experience and stuff like that. And if he's decided that it's not for him at this moment, then no problem. We'll just, I would be amazed if the shortlist was one, Derek, and we had all our eggs in one basket if this was the case. So let's just wait and see where it takes us. How are you feeling about it all? I'm not getting too up nor down.
Well, this news that's emerging, if true, is it's a bit surprising, given the noise coming from Spain and Italy as well over Davide Ancelotti. If you are just tuning in, folks, there are reports that he's going to stick with his father and postpone it moving to being a head coach, and he's going to move with his father to Brazil. As we touched on, Chris will be checking that out as we speak. But I was on board with, like you, Stevie, I could get on board with someone like that. I've said it before, the names that have been mooted, you mentioned the role. Rob Edwards is an interesting one. I cannot for the life of me see him getting a job as big as Rangers. Cracking guy, incidentally. Been in a few press conferences with him. Great guy, but you don't get relegated twice from the Premier League. And then he was sacked before he got relegated from the Championship. But I don't think his stock should be as high as getting the Rangers job. I'd imagine he maybe get another job in the English Championship or English League One, perhaps, but Rangers, not for me. Roll, I've not really followed his career that closely at Sheffield Wednesday to make an assessment on him. He's done a decent job there, considering behind the scenes it's a bit all over the place at Sheffield Wednesday. I think he's looking to move on. And but these guys are a profile. Rangers, Joshua had a great piece on the website over the few days ago about clubs looking towards younger coaches, and that is the model that appears that Rangers will be looking to adopt. That head coach focusing on the team, coaching the team, and making sure they can beat the likes of Dundee and the like and all that sort of stuff. So Ancelotti, yep, I could get on board. I could see the reasoning behind that one, even though it would be a huge risk. Of course it would be. He's never been a head coach in his own right before. So it's just one of those ones. At this moment in time, there's no names that have stood out to me. And I go, yeah, that is a guy. Go and get him. Is there anyone for you, Stevie, at this point? That's how I thought I could get on board with Ancelotti, because for me, it was it looked like an exciting appointment if it materialised. Of course, there's a name, and I get that the baggage that comes with that as well. Some saying that, of course, it's his father, and he's only got jobs because of his father. I don't think you coach at Real Madrid if you don't have something about you. But I get folks' reservations with regards to it and the lack of experience. Is that a big thing? I mean, you look across Europe and clubs given chances to coaches. Farioli, although he's making a good job of not Ajax collapsing in the final few games of the Eredivisie season, but they gave him a job. Of course, he's highly rated. There's other guys, Will Still, of course, at Lons. There's others, the boy at Brighton, who did a good job at St. Pauli. It seems to be a lot of clubs going down this route. Even Amorim, you could say, is a young guy, he's been given an opportunity. But the names that have been mentioned, Stevie, that's why I was on board with Ancelotti. It was a bit left field, and I could get on board with that. Any other names there that excite you?
I don't think there's an outstanding candidate for the job.
No.
Even with Ancelotti Jr. being there, I don't think there's an outstanding candidate. I think that when it comes to the choices that we have or appear to have, I think, they will all be divisive for people. I think even if it was Gerrard, right, you would have, I would say 50% of people would be like, great, he's coming back, he knows what it's all about. He's got managerial experience, he has, lots of positives around him. And then there's going to be another 50% that say, hold on, this guy didn't win enough trophies when he was here. He's not had too good managerial stints since, etc., etc. So the plus and cons are there straight away for Steven Gerrard. Yeah. And he might be probably, dare I say it, the safest bet because he knows what it's all about. He's been here before, etc., etc. And he's a name currently in the frame and linked. Danny Rowe, exciting. Sheffield Wednesday. I think he's done a really good job there. Everyone speaks really highly of him. But again, Derek, he's still very young in his career. Rangers is a different animal to anyone. You've seen, Balogun and Dessers talk about it when they spoke the other evening, talking about, a draw here is a catastrophe and all that kind of stuff, and that's different to his. Dessers talking about his time at Feyenoord, where you have to win every game. So that needs to be taken into consideration. You can, we are very quick to be sink or swim by the end of August. So that all needs to be, it can be difficult for anyone just starting off and coming into the career. So that all needs to be taken into consideration. But Rob Edwards would be a no for me. He was mentioned in Sky as one of the kind of leading candidates, not for me. I think like you, he's kind of wouldn't be ready. But aside of that, Derek, I'm not sure that any of us could agree on an outstanding candidate and a top favourite for the job. I think the ambition and the enthusiasm for Ancelotti was really clever, really good. I think even Danny Rowe, you could put in the ambition and enthusiasm because of where he is and what they think he can be. The ambition for him to go and be on and do something. So, listen, I think everything comes with this. That's why I think that's why I'm so relaxed about it as well, because I'm just waiting to see where it takes us. My eggs aren't in one basket. I think there's plus and cons for absolutely everyone, and I really just feel that way, Derek. So, I still go back to Gerrard and thinking that he would be the safest because of his experience in the country. But I also agree with people saying that he's not done enough the last 2 years. He didn't win enough while he was here. I understand the argument.
Changing the model as well, Stevie. Would he be a right fit, really, if they're moving away from that sort of overarching manager figure, if you like?
Well, I mean, people can adapt, can't they? It would depend on what he was willing to, or he might relish that because there's not the pressure of everything else. So I think, honestly, I think it's really divisive. I can see the excitement behind Ancelotti role. I can see the reservations behind them. I can see the same with Steven. So, listen, I think that it's an intriguing one. So let's see how it goes, Derek. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, let's see how it unfolds.
It's changing, as we now know, it's changing or potentially changing every hour.
I know.
So I think that's why another reason why you're just like, let's wait and see.
Yeah. Right. Of course, Rangers round off their ultimately disappointing campaign tomorrow. Thank God we can, by tomorrow after late afternoon, we can say that's it, done. Let's look forward to the summer and the new season. Rangers will take on the Hibs, who have had quite a sensational campaign, really, under David Gray. Fair play to them, incidentally, for sticking by him when they were struggling at the bottom end of the table. Looks like they're going to, well, they have achieved third, haven't they? So, yeah, great achievement for them. Recently came to Ibrox and won. So it's not going to be an easy game. Barry wants to depart with his head held high and another victory under his belt. With that in mind, Stevie, I know despite myself and many others wanting to see young boys getting an opportunity, some of the fringe players get a chance, I think we'll see pretty much the same lineup as we witnessed in midweek. Would you go along with that?
I think I would. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest to see another 5-5. I think Hibs are flying, but equally their defence isn't great, is it? You know, we've seen that in the 3-3 game. Our defence, well, you see what we do on a weekly basis. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a high-scoring game. I really like it if they manage to come out of there with a victory for Barry and just get that out of the way. On David Gray and on Hibs, I seen really early on, I was quite impressed with them. I think I spoke about it on this show when they came to Ibrox in the earlier game. They really should have taken something from Rangers in that game. Dwight Gill missed a chance with a couple of minutes left, which should have, at very least, got them a point. They dominated, and they were very good for it. Speaking to Gavin on Scotland Coefficient, talking about, you know, the trajectory of Hibs, etc., and I said that they would be past Aberdeen and would be up there at the top. I just thought that they played decent football and all their kind of performances pointed to that, Derek. So they'll be a difficult opponent for us tomorrow at Easter Road. Nothing to lose. They'll be very relaxed and they'll be wanting to go and put on a show. Rangers, on the other hand, you know, famously, no pressure on them. Turn up when it's not required, don't they? So you've seen it the last couple of games. So as I said, it could be a really high scoring game, but I'm just glad that that's the last of it for this season. That's for sure.
Yeah. There'll be many saying their goodbyes as Stevie just comes back. There we go. Fantastic. And
press the wrong button. Sorry.
I'm with you. I think it could be quite a bonkers game tomorrow. So, yeah, I'd like Rangers to go out on a high for Barry and win the game, but I'm not expecting. I have obviously my predicted teams in recent weeks have been panned. I've wanted young boys getting an opportunity. I very much doubt that will be the case. Cyril Dessers, you'd imagine, will lead the line, which leads me on to Cyril's 50 goals for the season, Stevie. Big conundrum on Cyril in the summer. I spoke after the game, of course. He says he still wants to be part of Rangers if he's still wanted. I've got no issue with that. I don't know if you have. I think Cyril Dessers, for me, isn't the problem for Rangers. You touched on there, the defence is probably the major problem for me, which needs sorted in the summer. And Dessers needs support round about him. I don't necessarily think Cyril Dessers is the reason Rangers are falling so far behind Celtic. But where do you sit on Cyril Dessers in the summer? Do you expect him to be a Rangers player next season?
No, I don't. I think he's done remarkably well, considering I think he could have had more. But credit to him for keep going. You know, I think his attitude is brilliant. I think his enthusiasm, you know, his work rate in terms of being able to get in there and get chances. But I don't think that you could turn down a serious bid for somebody who's coming up to be 31, Derek, in terms of...
What would be a serious bid, Stevie?
4, 5, 6 million.
Yeah, you're accepting that. Yeah.
You would accept what you paid for him.
Yeah.
And listen, I would go along with what you're saying. There's far bigger problems in Cyril. We've relied on him, I think, too much. I think that's all very fair, and I understand completely what people are saying with regards to that. I don't have an issue with that in the slightest. Brilliant achievement, 50 goals in 2 seasons, and we're crying out for somebody to hit the numbers that he does. I think it's a real shame that he doesn't have anything around him. There's There's very little else. And I understand it. I think he gets more criticism than maybe he deserves, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Derek. There's been times where I just can't go him because he just doesn't offer what you need. He doesn't hold the ball up. He doesn't get involved. But I would say that since Barry's come in, those performances have been less and less. I thought the other night against Dundee United, and even though it's a game that meant very little, I thought he was excellent. I thought his work rate was there. I thought his attitude was there. He missed chances, pops up, lovely header, very calm penalty. But I thought he was very subdued in his press conference. He's a very enthusiastic character. He's a very bubbly character. I didn't feel like he was like that the other night. So that was an interesting point of view. I think maybe he knows that we've got to sell players, Derek, as well. Regardless of what's coming in, we've got to sell players. We have to make that work, that side of it. And I can't help but feel that he's an asset that we can get a value for. He's going to have interest. His European exploits alone will mean that he will have interest. And I don't see him remaining at Rangers. And we would shake his hand and say, all the best if we get that money. And that's purely because of his age. That's all. And if teams are coming in offering him those sums, offering the sums for him, then I would be saying yes. And it's again only for his age. And I think that if he was 26, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd be saying, no, you keep him and you work things around him. If he stays and we work things around him and he'll produce those numbers again, then great. We can get on board with that. But we're at a stage where we have to think about the team and about the business. I also don't think that Cyril, remember Ronald de Boer said that he's either a 2 or a 9.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of typical of where we are with him. But his performances lately under Barry, I would say, have been a lot better. That's for sure. So I'll give him credit for that. And we'll just need to wait and see what happens. There's a whole lot that's going to happen over this summer. There's going to be massive changes. Barry talked about, needing dozen in, dozen out kind of levels. Cyril would then fall into that category of one that's got a value and things like that. We can't have a fire sale like last summer where we don't get any money in. Kevin Thelwell hopefully will be competent in doing his job regarding that. So if I was a betting man, Cyril would be on my list of people that would leave. But so would Redvan, because Redvan has a value and he's got interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he needs moved on.
Yeah, but so does Robin Proper. So does Davies. So does Dowell. These are guys that have got a monetary value.
Yeah.
You need to somehow then get rid of Rabbi Matondo, who's returning again because he's on far too much money. Does Jack Butland have a worth, etc., etc.? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you would say goodbye to Tom Lawrence, you would say goodbye to Yanis Hadji, etc., because these boys are going out of contract and they're on money that we can't afford to keep. So, yeah, there's big changes to be had, Derek. The bottom line is as well, I think you need to be sensible and say, and I put everybody in this bracket, Danilo, everybody. If there's decent bids for players, we're listening. And that just needs to be the way it is. And I think that's fair. If you're asking who's in or out, that it depends on who's interested. And I think that's, put your thoughts to Cyril aside. I'm saying about his age and why you would look to, because he's got a monetary value. But throughout the whole squad, there's nobody there in that squad that you would say, I need to keep him 100%. You would look at Raskin and Eagleman. There's more interest in Eagleman today. Strasbourg have been linked with bids for him. They've got deep pockets. I think they're linked with the group that own kind of Chelsea and things like that. The bottom line is, if the money's right for any of them, Derek, they're going to be out the door. And we maybe need to do that in terms of what we can then spend in the model that we're trying to implement. So I'm comfortable with that. And I'm ready for change, and I think we all are.
Yeah, well, there's no two ways about it. We absolutely are. Just Dessers yesterday in that embargo press conference, he was asked how motivated are you to be the spearhead of this team next season. He says, my ambitions are clear. This season has been very bumpy. Next season, I want to be better myself and do better as a team. I want to win trophies. If they need me, I'll be there. That's all I can say. So that was Cyril Dessers.
See, I think that's different. I think his tone was different. I think the way he was different. It was that if they need me, I'm willing to be there. I potentially could be getting it all wrong, right? And I
I
understand
know what you
that.
mean. No, but I know what you mean, Stevie.
He's a very bubbly, enthusiastic character. He's always great with the press. He's always brilliant to speak to. There was a bit of resignation there, in my opinion, from him. Or maybe it was just the occasion. Maybe he is thinking that could be my last time out there. So I just think I think he was a different person in that press conference to what he's been like before. And again, understand he might have that doubt. It might be the same for all the players. But I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, if he moves on, he won't play for a bigger club than Rangers. Of that, there is no doubt. So I could understand if he was a tad subdued, if he was feeling that could be the last time turning out at Ibrox in a Rangers jersey. Incidentally, folks, you'll hear from Connor Barron at 12 noon this afternoon. He was also speaking after the game. Said some interesting things, did young Connor. So keep your eyes peeled for that on the YouTube channel. If you prefer to read those press conferences, then it'll be on the website as well. But we'll wrap up there for now. Big thank you to Stevie for joining us as ever. You got a call, or you've got the talking point coming out. Just a plug for that with Chris this weekend, Stevie.
Yeah, recorded in the bag to do. I've also got a column going out about the women's finale on Sunday. They're playing.
Oh yes, huge! What a game that is!
Yeah, huge. You can 2 tickets for £10. Derek family ticket. I get that through my jersey. I think it's £8. I think they're 8 and 4 individually, 6 and 4 individually. All the information's up on our page as well as the Wayne Rangers website. A huge game, huge game. Now here's where it becomes difficult because cup final against Hibs thrashed them 5-0 and really turned up. League game against Hibs dropped 3-0, dropped 2-0. Really poor, like outclassed. Hibs are a good, solid side. Grant Scott's done an incredible job with them this year, full of pace and danger everywhere. Rangers have got a habit on the Ibrox pitch as well of finding it difficult in big games. So this is a huge game. They need all the support. I think Rangers were saying yesterday up to 5,000 tickets have been sold already. So it's going really well in terms of numbers. If everybody can get along, it's going to be a cracking day. Please do, because the girls need all the help they can get. And we really need to try and get this one over the line. And of course, Derek, this is uncharted because if they manage to do it, they have cup final next weekend, next Sunday.
Yeah,
and potential treble for the women. They've got 2 games away from glory. So all we can do now is wish them best of luck and get behind them. I'm looking forward to it, and I just hope they do it because I really like Joe. I really like Joe Potter, the manager. I like the squad, and it's a really big opportunity for them to see some success. They've already got the League Cup, as I said. I've battered Hibs in that game, so let's hope we can have a similar performance. But it's going to be some game, Derek. That's for sure.
Yeah, set up. You couldn't set it up better, really. Win the game, win the title. So I'm sure it'll be a great advert for the women's game. And then
the other problem is as well that with Glasgow City sitting level with Rangers and 3 points behind Hibs, Rangers could drop out completely out of European positions and things as well. And second for European position, as we seen this year when we got Arsenal, it's more or less no use. You're going to get a massive team and you're going to most likely not make it. You have to finish in first to have even a chance of getting through. And even then, you have to get through 2 group stages before you get to the actual last day. It's so difficult, but we cannot afford not to be in Europe. So it's first or third is really where we are. We're not going to stay in second because you would expect Glasgow City to win their last game. So, that's where we're going to end.
All or nothing, Stevie.
It's all or nothing, Derek. It really is. Yeah. So, women need all your support. If people can get along and support them, please do. It's going to be a great day at Ibrox, and let's hope they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big thank you to Bluebells Are Blue for outstanding generosity. He's gifted 10 Rangers Review memberships. That is very kind of you, sir. Thank you for that. So if you want to take advantage of that, folks, please do. And plenty to come your way over the weekend. We'll have you covered from Easter Road. Chris will be in attendance at the game for us. As Stevie touched on there, we'll have the talking point on Sunday. Also get an interesting video with some Italian lads who have got a Rangers supporters club over in Italy, and also have a Rangers team as well, which was very interesting. They're actually crowdfunding because their clubhouse and their pitch is a bit decrepit, so they need to bring it up to scratch. And yeah, we'll post that over the weekend at some point as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, right, big thanks to Stevie. Thank you to you all for tuning in. A reminder, folks, no press conference today, so you won't hear from Barry or anything like that, so don't be concerned if you don't see it this afternoon, because there is none. But yeah, we'll have you covered tomorrow. Until then, enjoy your Friday. Bye for now.